The opinions and viewpoints expressed in .NET Rocks are not necessarily those of its sponsors, or of Microsoft Corporation, its partners, or employees. .NET Rocks is a production of Franklin's Net, which is solely responsible for its content. Franklin's Net, training developers to work smarter. Rockheads, stop drooling over the GeForce 6800 and listen up. It's time for another stellar episode of .NET Rocks, the internet audio talk show for .NET developers with Carl Franklin and Rory Blythe. This is Jeff Maciolik here to announce show number 71 with guest Tim Huckaby, recorded live Thursday, July 8th. .NET Rocks is brought to you by Franklins.net, training developers to work smarter, and now offering hands-on VB.NET and ASP.NET classes remotely. Online at www.franklins.net, and by Data Dynamics, makers of ActiReports.net. Simple, powerful, and cost-effective reporting for Windows Forms and ASP.NET web applications. Online at www.datadynamics.com. Support is also provided by Code Magazine, Microsoft Technologies in-depth for IT managers and developers. Online at www.code-magazine.com. And by Dundas Chart, Advanced Technology, Advanced Results. Online at www.dundaschart.com. And now, the guy who spends all his training income on guitar picks, Carl Franklin.
Digital blood without any pain.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks, Jeff. I'm Carl, and welcome to another stellar episode of .NET Rocks. And across the country tonight, none other than my partner in crime, Rory Blythe. Nice to see that you're back in business, man.
What's yeah, you know, at the end of the intro there, when the joke was told about you spending all of your training income on guitar picks, I actually started to calculate how many guitar picks you would have, but I didn't get very far, and then I realized that if I announced it on the air that somebody could figure out, based on the cost of a guitar pick, exactly what it is that you make, and then I thought, that wouldn't really be good. I don't want to share anybody's personal, private financial information.
Seconds?
Well,
wow. Yeah. That's a compressed thought if I ever heard of one.
Yeah. So anyway, that's one way to start a show.
Yeah.
I guess.
There you go. So you sound great. You've got a new microphone over there.
Yeah, I got a new mic, got a new audio thingy doody that I don't understand, and it's got all these lights and knobs and switches and buttons and plugs and I'm sort of I'm feeling kind of intimidated, like the membership to the International High IQ Society that I stole for myself from Chris Sells the other day should be revoked. And I should just be inserted into the international, relatively, average IQ society.
Yeah, it sounds like we could, be on like Larry King or NPR or something like that. It was pretty professional sounding for a bunch of slobs like us.
The quality's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the quality is pretty damn good. So I mean, I'm pretty happy about this, and the setup is a lot nicer for me to do here at home, and
cool.
I'm happy about it. I think it's good. I think it's good stuff.
How's the dog?
The dog is absolutely fabulous. Although, well, there's some stuff I'm going to write about. There are some issues.
Oh, speaking of writing, I just got to tell you, Roy, I really enjoyed your piece about the blood pressure and your grandfather and stuff. Yeah, you are a really talented writer. Really talented.
Thanks.
I really enjoyed that piece.
Yeah, that one was a lot of fun to write. It's fun to take a little snapshot of your family's just. Well, I guess they're crazy aspects and turn it into and show it to the world. So, but what's so funny is that I have had people now emailing me and commenting saying, "You know what's weird? Like that's what I did with my family last Fourth." And I'm not even kidding. Some guy from out in England wrote, and he says, "Well, here in Old Blighty, we don't really do anything on the 4th, but last 4th I was there with my family, and we were not only checking blood pressure, but we were doing cholesterol checks too."
Oh,
At least I think he's the one who said he was doing cholesterol checks. I'm mixing up a few different emails here, but wow. It was something. So,
well,
crazy people out there,
funny
man.
Stuff too.
Yeah.
What else is up with
good.
you? What's new?
Well, I am beginning the interview process at a company, and I had my second phone interview today, and I'm thinking about taking a job. I'm definitely, what I should say actually is I'm ready to fight for a job.
Wow.
Because
Cool.
I think it's absolutely perfectly suited for me. It's one of those things where I've been kind of sitting around lately waiting for that thing that seemed right.
Yeah.
And this seems so right that I can't let it go. It's kind of like when you see, it's one of those love at first sight things where you just see that girl or that guy or whatever, and you know that something happens and you become kind of obsessed with them, and you know that is the one, at least for now. So,
right.
Yeah, and hopefully I'm going to hear back about today's phone interview and see how much further this winds up going, and maybe I will get the job.
Oh, it sounds good. I don't think
I'm
I've ever
really,
heard you
really
more
hoping.
excited about a job offer prospect before.
Well, this is the first job offer that I've received in years that doesn't involve just straight, either coding or writing. Right. It's I've been offered stuff that's just coding, stuff that's just writing. This is something that mixes like everything that I've wanted to do, and I just can't get it out of my head. I've been daydreaming about it and thinking about it a lot. So,
well, you have to keep us informed, of course.
Oh, I'll keep you informed. I'll tell you all. I'll get on here and I'll talk for 20 minutes if you don't stop me, because it's all I'm thinking about right now. That's what obsation is for, right? It's
well,
so
the more you talk, the more the more people download. So go ahead and talk away. You know,
I don't know if that's true. Whoa, Don XML says in the chat room, Rory is getting a job at Playboy.
Yeah,
I mean, that wouldn't be bad. I hear they pay pretty well,
That's
and frankly,
right.
I would pose for
He's
the camera.
He's a little thin for a bunny
substantial
suit,
payment.
though.
Yeah. Well, anyway, moving right along, getting a little creepy there. Don't got to get too creepy. Let's just move right along.
Yeah.
So, what's going on with you then?
Oh, well, I've had a great week. Awesome week, actually. On Tuesday was my day this week, because the band came over, and Jeff and a couple of his friends, Will and Pierce, and a friend of mine, Arthur, got some cameras together, and we all of a sudden just decided to make this music video. And with 4 cameras and lights and multi-track recording and all this stuff. And my brother and I, in 12 hours, 12 hours from start to finish, came up with a web compressed version of the final video. I mean, I'm talking, it took like a couple hours to mix it down, the audio.
Yeah.
Several hours to get the video together, and it was just so much fun. I couldn't sleep, and I was up for like 40 hours in a row. It was just unbelievably fun.
Jeez. Wow.
Oh, it was so much fun. And then, of course, I got to play show and tell and went around town. And, hey, everybody, look at this. I think the most excited person, though, was Clara, my 2-year-old girl. She just couldn't stop saying, "It's Daddy, play guitar. Daddy." She turned around to my wife. Yeah. "It's Daddy." Yeah, that's Daddy. She was just, I don't know. Must be weird when you're 2 years old. I never had that experience before. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm sitting in this person's lap and they're on my computer at the same time. Must be very strange.
Yep.
Well, man,
cool.
we got some mail. I don't know.
Did we?
The mail came out of the woodwork. I'm beginning to think that I don't know what I'm beginning to think. It's great. We love to hear from you. So send us your mail. We have a new email address. It's not new, but we haven't been using it. And we'd like to encourage everybody who wants to communicate with us either during the show or after the show about anything at all to send it to .netrocks@franklins.net. That's DOTNET rocks@franklins.net. And that goes to accounts where you won't be challenged by spam filters and all that stuff. It's good. Rory gets a copy. I get a copy. So it's good.
Everybody's happy.
Everybody's happy.
Even the spammers, because like you said, there's no spam block. So
that's right. So, and it's not, please don't publish it anywhere.
Be careful with it.
Yeah. Don't publish it anywhere. I published it on our website as a GIF file. So, and there's no link. So nobody knows about it. Anyway, just use it. Don't tell him. We got an email from Tom at nrradio.com. Did you know that there's a radio station, an online radio station in the UK, Rory, that's mirroring and rebroadcasting our shows?
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
At
cool.
nrradio.com. Hey, this is Tom from nrradio.com. Just wanted to tell you guys we love airing the show, and it airs Sundays at 1 p.m. That's England time Also, have you heard of Soundwaves Mag? We are working on an advertising trade with them. Thanks and keep up the good work. Very cool. I went and checked it out, and sure enough, you listen to their stream at Sunday, on Sundays at 1, and you'll hear .NET Rocks.
Cool. That's nice.
Yeah.
We should send them one of our letters, the one that says, "Give us money, please."
That's okay.
On the .NET Rocks stationery.
Right. On the letterhead, on the company letterhead. Please send a memo in triplicate. Stroke J9245. Okay, this one is from David Foster. Guys, again, an excellent show. Carl, I have to disagree with your comments on DirectX 9. And I think he's talking about the show we did last week. I said something like, if you've never done graphics programming, you're thinking about getting into DirectX 9, do something else. I didn't mean to say it was because it was difficult, and it is difficult if you're not used to graphics. I guess I'm trying to say if you're new to graphics programming at all, it can be a little bit daunting. It's only because it's totally unlike the business application programming that you've done up to now. But didn't mean to say anything negative about it. I think it's great. Of course, obviously, it's the number one graphics API. Anyway, so he said, I had done no graphics programming up until June. We got a contract to develop a steel framing engineering application, DirectX 9, VBNet, and SQL Server. Dude, this is how programming is meant to be. Work out the math for frames and trusses in 3 dimensions, turn all the center ends into vector 3 objects, generate a mesh for each object and render. We started with tutorial 3 and just built the app off that. Hey, sounds like all the Access programs I've ever seen in my life. We are almost halfway through and can thoroughly recommend DX9. The hardest part was regurgitating vector and trigonometry math. It's been 25 years since I was at school, just as well as my eldest is doing last year of astrophysics and a math degree. I love this time slot, Monday, Friday, Sydney, Australia. Only problem is client always wants to do lunch Fridays. So we're like on at lunchtime in Australia. I have convinced him with Krispy Kreme donuts. Mondays are better. Keep up the great work. Best regards, David Foster. Thank you, David. And,
thanks, Dave.
Yeah. And be on the lookout for some useless crap. Useful crap.
Useful crap.
Useful crap.
Yeah. You can prop things up with it.
Yeah. Can hold your pencils. And your pencil sharpener.
You could also actually tie ransom notes to the clock and throw it through windows.
Okay.
I'm just trying to help, man.
Yeah, okay.
Just trying to be useful.
If you really want to, I suppose. Just you didn't get it from us.
I'm not saying to do it.
It's got our pictures
Once
on
they're
it.
outta
It's got a
here,
ransom note tied to it with our pictures on it. That's thinking. Yeah, let's encourage that behavior.
Well, they'd never suspect
Who are
us if it's
these
our
Carl
photos.
Franklin and Rory Blythe people coming through my window?
Might not even read
grass.
the note. Okay, it was a bad idea.
All
Okay,
right, well,
1 out of
anyway.
every 10 ideas.
Yeah,
are
you
really
can
bad.
use it to
It was a
kill
bad
your
idea.
dog. You could actually bring it down on your mother-in-law's head.
Look, Carl, seriously, I'm feeling kind of sensitive now about it.
Okay, all right. I'll lay off. So this one is
it
from...
was a dumb idea.
Everyone has them. So this one is from Bob Newton, Toronto, Canada. Hi, Carl and Rory. Keep up the good work. I've been listening to .NET Rocks now for about 6 months and have enjoyed each and every broadcast. Recently, I took a week off to do some exterior painting on my house here in Toronto. Even though I hate painting with a passion, I was able to strap on my Pocket PC to my tool belt and listen to some oldie but goodie past broadcasts while up the ladder on my wireless home network using Windows Media streaming from your website. How cool is that? The guy's painting his house, listening to you and me. Listening to .NET Rocks made the painting go a little easier. Thanks, Bob Newton. Bob, what can I say, man? I'll send you a paintbrush with Rory's picture on
Just
it.
like the whole setup, the Pocket PC tying into the wireless network
Right.
and streaming the show over that's awesome.
And the thing that I want to know is, what does he say when somebody comes over and says, hey, what you listening to?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I've got my Pocket PC connected to the internet. I'm listening to a show on the internet. Huh?
Right.
Yeah. Voodoo. This one is from Richard Norman. He says, Don XML, listening to the Don XML episode. Don is actually out in the chat room, so maybe he can answer this question. I'm catching up on some episodes I missed. While listening to Don XML episode, Chris Lundy from Canada called and talked about some of the issues he was having moving to .NET and that he was using a lot of COM in his applications. Kudos to him for finding the errors with the Amazon service. Also, the great suggestion of Don XML to use namespaces to version your service. One thing I wanted to point out, if it was not discussed afterwards, I am writing this while listening to the show, was that you should be able to create a COM component from a .NET service component. You certainly can. So that his XML web service interfacing code could be redone in .NET with the easy interface and proxy class creation. So the use of the SOAP toolkit is not necessary. Pretty cool idea if the application can talk with COM fine. His current application can just be updated to use the new COM components. So I should recommend looking into the COM interop capabilities, which will be also included in Indigo. Thanks, Donbox, for the info. So, just a little user help when I can. Carl and Rory, keep on .NET rockin'. We'd love a show about Mono, just recently released 1.0, when you can have the time to get a hold of people. Yes, we're working on that. We're truly. And as I said before, Miguel's coming on the show soon, as soon as we can get him booked. And finally, this one is an announcement from Elliot Mike York, who says, could you guys please mention that Jason Beres from the INETA Speakers Bureau will be the guest speaker at the Greater New Orleans .NET User Group meeting on Monday, July 12th. The meeting will be held at the Jefferson Parish East Bank Regional Library on 4747 West Napoleon Avenue, Metairie, Louisiana. It's one of those French words. Metairie.
Metairie?
There you go. Louisiana 70001. Event starts at 6:30, goes to 8:30. Pizza and soda available with quite a few door prizes. More information is available at www.gonug.org. Really enjoy your show, and if you guys are ever in the Big Easy, give us a shout. I love New Orleans. I don't know about you, Rory, but when I die, I want to have a New Orleans funeral in New Orleans. That is the way to go. Don't you think?
Well, I mean, it's a little complicated though, because I start thinking that if you have your funeral there, then how are you going to really enjoy it? Because
true.
You can't. I mean, do you see the problem?
Well, but it's for my friends, for my friends and family. They'd be.
Well, maybe you should be a little bit less selfish, Carl, and ask where your friends want your funeral to be. Maybe they want it to be in a ski resort.
Yeah, maybe we could do it. We could do an informal poll, I suppose.
I guess so. Selfish bastard.
Yeah, I know. What can I say? Well, anyway,
it's all about me when I die.
We have many changes to the format of this show, and the first change is that we actually have some theme music for the segment that we're officially consecrating. It's the news of the week.
Now obey.
So, Rory, what happened this week?
Okay, well, this week, one thing that happened that's kind of interesting is somebody put a site online called passcracking.com. PASS cracking.com, all one word, except for the .com, of course. You don't have to spell it. The dot, it's not DOT, it's just simply a dot like a period.
Yes.
.com. And it is called MD5 Online Cracking. So you just simply supply your MD5 hash, and it will come out the other end in a few days with the crack, with the unscrambled mumbo jumbo.
Really?
Oh, yeah. But it says that, okay, there are some restrictions, for example. It says, note, this project won't be able to break salted MD5 hashes, which are used in Nix systems and /etc/shadow files. They won't appear in the list, only clean MD5 hashes. But still, this is a really interesting concept to be able to find online. You just submit a hash and bang, they crack it. Wow. And I was thinking, what happens when this winds up being like SETI, like one of these distributed programs, right?
Oh, man.
Where you have a whole bunch of people, where you have a whole bunch of people donating their computer time to cracking other people's hashes. I mean,
dude, that's evil. Don't even mention that kind of shit.
Well, I'm half evil, so it's sort of my job.
You're all yin and no yang.
Yeah. This is not really tech related, but a lot of tech people like to pretend that they think they're smart or whatever. So I thought I'd mention the man who knew too much, the guy who's been on Jeopardy, who's made like $9 bajillion and been on for like 25 million shows in a row, who just
Frank
cannot
Spangenberg?
lose. Whatever his name is, I just think he's an asshole, and I wanted to say that. And and it's not because I know him; it's just because I'm jealous. Okay, so that's the news of the week for that particular segment. He's just a jerk, and he keeps winning, and that bothers me. In other news, I thought this was kind of cool. Keyless remotes to cars in Waldorf suddenly useless. Did you hear about this?
In Waldorf, like the Waldorf?
Yeah.
Where?
In Waldorf, somewhere. I guess it's just this town out there.
So they all stopped working?
Yeah, they all stopped working. People could not get into their cars. And what's happening is there was some government body that was jamming the signal that all these little car door openers work on.
Oops.
While an aircraft carrier or something like that was coming into port, which I thought was really interesting.
Oh, wow.
Oh, and garage door openers. Everything just shut down. So they could just block that whenever they feel like it.
That sucks.
Which is... Yeah, it's pretty nuts, especially, I mean, a car like mine, you can't even use the key to unlock the door. You have to use the remote entry. So
you do?
I would have been out there. Yeah.
So if you lose your battery or something, you can't drive to work?
I'm sure there's all sorts of, well, I mean, if you don't have your battery, you can't really drive to work anyway, can you?
No, your battery and your keyless remote.
Oh, I see what you mean. It'd be pretty hard to get in.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's what code
Well, I don't know. Maybe I do
though.
have keyholes, but I've never used them. I don't know. Anyway, I'm making stuff up. So let's move along. On another front, this
Just
is
carry a coat hanger
related.
You'll be all set.
Yeah. Well, I think the Mini is probably coat hanger proof. You need a little tiny coat hanger, little thin one. But here we've got Sun introduces most significant and advanced Java platform release in 5 years. And it was so significant and so advanced, in fact, that they skipped from version 1.5 to 5.0. We now have Java version 5.0.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, who cares?
So,
versions don't mean anything anyway.
Well, I kind of care just because that's so over the top, desperate marketing kind of crap. And I mean, everybody over the past few years has skipped a version here or there, but
Rory,
skipping 3.5 what
Windows 3.1.1 to 95. Now that's almost 90. That's over 90 versions they skipped. Okay, so come on.
I don't know. In my opinion, though,
Windows
3.1.1 was really followed up by NT, whereas Windows 3 and 3.1 were followed up by
Windows
95.
NT was Windows 4, right? Windows 4 to 95. That's still over 90 versions, pal.
Whose side are you on, Carl?
I don't know. I'm just calling like I said.
Whose side are you on, Carl?
That's my job. I point.
No,
to
you know
hypocrisy.
what? Maybe I'm just going to stop with this news item right here. Move on to the next one because it seems like some people in the host and co-host arrangement aren't entirely happy with it. So here we have something that we'll probably just never see again. At http:// as you all know and are sick of hearing about, slate.msn.com/id/2103.152 is an article on a Microsoft-sponsored and owned site telling people to use Firefox over Internet Explorer.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
The article itself isn't really that interesting. It's just the same old stuff that everybody else says when they tell you to use Firefox. I just thought it was fascinating that here on this Microsoft-run site, they're doing it as well. I mean, that's really something. So that is the news for the week.
Wow. Awesome, dude.
Now obey.
Well, Rory, it's time to introduce our guest and making his second appearance on .NET Rocks, our good friend Tim Huckaby. Tim is Chief Executive Officer of Internology, a software infrastructure and network engineering firm dedicated to consulting application software design and network engineering. As lead technical architect, software development lead, Microsoft Regional Director, and Microsoft Partner Advisory Council member, and INETA Rockstar speaker, Tim has over 20 years of industry experience. Tim has worked on technology projects for such clients as Microsoft, Pacific Life Insurance Company, Nabisco, Qualcomm, Gateway, BigStore.com, Zapotec, College Club, Mobile Planet, SkyMall, Kingston Technology, Cooking.com, Buy.com, and the U.S. Navy. As a developer, architect, and technical lead, Tim's skills expand into many areas, including electronic commerce, internet, extranet, intranet architecture, and development. And oh, Jesus, he's just a really smart guy. Will you please introduce Tim Huckaby?
Jeez, where did you get that?
God, Lord, I'd have to, this thing goes all the way down. I mean,
where in the world? That is outdated and embarrassing. But gentlemen, it's my pleasure to be here. Great to talk to you. And I use that term gentleman loosely, at least in Rory and Carl's
because Carl's
case.
here, right?
Yeah.
Internology.com. It's on your bio page.
Oh, God, that God blessed site.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough to keep that site up to date.
Well, but the fact is that you've got you sit on a lot of advisory boards, probably the most advisory boards of anybody that I know. And you've done a lot of development work, even though that's not your main focus these days. You are like a developer god. Not just me saying that.
Well, it's clearly I sit on way too many councils at Microsoft. I can't believe they still listen to me. The Internology, has done a ton of .NET for a long time now, and boy, there's some really talented and fantastic people. And the reason I don't write code anymore, other than demos, is because they don't let me. I'm dangerous. So, but I can write a mean demo. I can write a mean demo with the best of them.
Yeah. And so you've been on the show before, and you were talking about you told probably one of the best Microsoft Bill Gates stories on the show before.
Yeah,
I don't even think that was
ago. I don't remember, but
that wasn't even your show. That was Nick Landry's show.
Oh, is that right?
And you were a caller. You just wanted to call and harass Nick.
Yeah, because I did the show with you and Mark. I think it was one of the very first .NET Rock shows, and as Rory said, I think in the intro, I've been a rockhead ever since.
Yeah, that's true. You've been a grethink supporter of what we're doing here.
I still believe you guys should be on TV replacing Letterman, but I think you need a little bit more money to make that happen.
Well, yeah. And, do
you have any money you'll give us?
I wish. I'm your biggest fans, gentlemen.
Yeah.
If I could put you on CBS in Letterman's spot, I would.
Well, Tim, you just remember that nothing says I'm your biggest fan like a biggest fan check.
Like a big fat check, right.
Yeah,
what since the last show? Since the last show, what have you been doing with yourself?
Since the last show, what was that? When did you start that?
Well, okay,
a couple years ago.
Officially, the last show that we talked to you on was the Tech Ed show, but we didn't talk to you about what you were doing. So, what have you been doing in the last year or so? Well,
my personal technology jihad for the last. Oh, I know exactly what it is. It's 14 months is SmartClient. And, when I was asked to jump into that 14 months ago, not only did I have no idea what the hell a SmartClient was, Microsoft really didn't have their act together on messaging tools and technologies in SmartClient.
Yeah.
And boy, times have changed. I'm just literally enamored with some of these technologies that I completely discounted when I first heard about them. And I tell you what, Microsoft has their act together.
Yes.
They are getting such crisp messaging going that, their internal MGB conference is coming up here in a week.
MGB, you said?
Microsoft Global Briefing. This is the one not many people hear about because it's a Microsoft-only event, and it's ultra secret, and they talk about technologies that are, 5 years in advance, and there's no press. Well, anyways, I'm honored because they've asked me to keynote the SmartClient track. So I'm like one of two non-blue badge people, kind of lighting up and getting people excited on the actual SmartClient track itself.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean it's weird too because, you know, I'm like in Atlanta for 12 hours. And I think there's like 20,000 Microsoft people there from all over the world, mostly field and technology people. Mm-hmm. I fly in there. They escort me by security to the stage. I've got this is kind of amusing. I probably shouldn't talk about this, but what the hell?
Like guys who will take bullets for you and stuff like that?
Yeah, no one listens to this show anyways, right?
Dark sunglasses.
I might as well fly all the NDA here. So they escort you in by security, and I'm in the big room too, so seemingly thousands of people. I do my show or my presentation, and they escort me out. And that's it. You know?
Good night. Thanks
Make sure you didn't take anything too, yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
So anyways, there's a lot of between now, which is next week, and a year ago, I've been doing this presentation that's relatively successful, and I've done it at all levels. I've done it to the Visual Studio and .NET team in Redmond. I've certainly done it in user groups and tech ed and conferences and such. And for all the technology spin on this, as opposed to the business spin, and we can talk about both, of course. The technology spin is there's basically 5 big hitter technologies in SmartClient, and we should probably define what the hell a SmartClient is.
Sure.
At least in all of our purview. So the 5 big hitter application development technologies for SmartClient are Windows Forms, of course.
Yep.
Compact Framework, or Smart Device, whatever the hell they call it now, but Compact Framework. And then the other 3 are the ones I immediately discounted when I first heard about them, and now I'm totally enamored with. And that's InfoPath, Visual Studio Tools for Office, and Information Bridge Framework, IBF.
That last one is the only one I'm not so familiar with.
And I wasn't till just recently, too, because they just kind of shipped. So let's start with that one, which is the most unknown of them. When you run any Office program, Excel, InfoPath, Word, PowerPoint, what am I missing? Access, Outlook, there is this task pane thing that comes up. And guys like me and you two, the first thing we do is what? We turn it off.
Turn it off.
Yeah, we hit the little X and get rid of it. Okay, but there's many information worker type folks out there that live and die by what they can do in this task pane. Well, IBF, if you don't mind me using the acronym, allows you to embed or create a Windows form that lives inside that task pane. Right? That guy can call directly out to a web service or a direct API for that matter. Or it can talk to a very abstracted metadata layer of some form of data you have in your backend, and it dynamically interacts with the Office document itself. So what's a practical example of that? You have, you get an email, and it says, hey, Carl, hey, Rory, I want to order the .NET Rocks souvenir mug or T-shirt or whatever. Its part number is blah. Well, the smart tag, the automatic smart tag would come up, recognize that part number, and you get a little menu.
Yeah.
And that menu would say something like, and most people know what a smart tag is. That menu would say something like show details or whatever you put the caption to be. And you click on that and you get a bunch of information in the task pane, which is really running a .NET application, a WinForm application that has called out to your inventory system. I'm sure you guys have this entire ERP system for the .NET Rocks empire that's completely baked.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it's monitoring our every move right now.
It's called out
called
to
calc,
the .NET Rocks.
calc.exe.
So it calls out to the .NET Rocks SAP, system and gets current inventory and blah, blah, blah. And you make a few mouse clicks, it updates an order form, and boom, sends it back out with email. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of powerful, and because it's .NET, it's compelling for at least guys like us, right? If it were scriptable or something hokey or COM or something like that, we may hate every minute of it, But let's get things straight. Clearly there are no managed interfaces for Office yet.
Yeah,
so we're wrapping this stuff,
right?
But the interface is still .NET, right?
Yeah.
So let me go up the stack then. So Visual Studio Tools for Office is basically writing some .NET that manifests itself in Excel or Word. Practical example would be in a business, there's people. Okay, let me spin it like this. If you ask me, and I think I can speak for both of you, if you ask us to build a pivot table in Excel, we would flail for 4 hours in help and give up. Can I speak?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not an Excel guy though.
Okay, there you go. However, I can, in about 100 lines of Visual Studio or .NET, VB.NET or C# or whatever, I can write an app that calls a web service or goes on a direct API or something, pull back a bunch of data, and pivot table it in 4 lines of managed code.
Wow.
Now, that's unbelievably powerful and cool. And then someone who knows what the hell they're doing in Excel can do whatever they do with charting and pivoting and analyzing data. And because it's .NET, we've got the code access security behind it, so we finally have a real security model. VBA, as you know, is like programming with one arm behind your back, and net it was impossible to secure these docs in the past anyways, short of painting ACLs and hokey solutions like that.
Right.
So now, literally, you could write an app that went out to your got personnel data, maybe salary data, pivoted it up, put it in a spreadsheet. You could email that spreadsheet to the entire company, but the only people who have rights to that assembly, are going to get to open that spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And the normal deployment model would be, the assembly would go out on a network share, and then it wouldn't matter where the Office doc got moved around. So that's kind of cool.
It sounds really interesting. Do you know of many companies that are actually using it with Office? It seems like you really have to, you have to drink the Microsoft Kool-Aid quite a bit.
So let's transition straight into what are the hurdles, holding back this SmartClient revolution.
There you go.
And I honestly, we're seeing it right now. We're doing a lot of real, as opposed to the cutting, bleeding edge Microsoft stuff we do for Redmond, we have actually some real customers doing this right now. But the big hurdle, of course, for SmartClient, and one of the main attributes of SmartClient, of course, is a disconnected scenario. But the big hurdle is the .NET framework at the client, at the desktop.
Right.
Microsoft, we can praise them where they're good, and we can be very honest where they're not so good. Mm-hmm. And one of the places I think they're not so good is getting the damn framework to the desktop. Yeah. They're not helping customers do that.
Well, it's true. And what have you done to, or what have you noticed that works?
Well, the really savvy companies, which is a typical Internology client, a company that's technology savvy, they figure it out for themselves. Like Pacific Life Insurance Company, the whale company. Really, after some serious discussions about the power of the SmartClient and how quickly we can get it done compared to web apps, and now the deployment. We should remind me to talk about the deployment hurdle also. But their VP of technology has snuck in the .NET framework into their Office rollout.
Oh, Office rollout, yeah.
Yeah. Before the network guys could say anything. It's a beautiful thing.
That is great.
So, there are a gazillion .NET framework downloads out there, and the metrics are getting better and better and better, but still, it's up to us in the trenches, honestly to get the framework to the
right, because
client.
it isn't about all the clients going up and downloading it. It's like you said, it has to be rolled out system you have to think of it like a service pack. And
yeah, absolutely.
You know, I was writing about this morning for an article for Programmer's Paradise magazine that a lot of this is because of pain memory, right? You have all these guys who are programmers in like 95, 96, Windows 95, Windows NT 3.1, DLL Hell, VB3, VB4, and wrapping up system DLLs and setup EXEs and sending them through 33.6 modems, and you spend 5 hours downloading a setup program for an application, you install it, and it corrupts your Windows installation, and there's a lot of pain there. And a lot of these developers grew up to be managers, and they're the guys that are making the decisions, and they hear a Windows application on all our clients. These are the guys that flock to ASP and flock to web applications in the intranet just because of DLL hell and distribution problems.
Absolutely. We're still getting over the scar
right.
of writing web apps for the last 4 or 5 years. And,
right.
and don't get me wrong, ASP.NET is unbelievably
it's great.
awesome. But you know what? You apply the tools and the technologies where the right solution and best solution happens, and no one will disagree
right.
that it's still a lot easier to build a Windows app than it is a web app.
It's definitely a lot. In fact, in my classes that I teach, you've got a mix of people who have never done web applications before and some that have done it with ASP or other technologies. And we do Windows forms first. Now, I'm not talking about the ASP.NET Masterclass. I'm talking about the other one. It's like a mix of everything. And we start with Windows forms, and this is great. Everything works cool as you would expect. And then you come to ASP.NET on day 3. And the people who have done ASP and have lived through it, they love it. And all the guys who've never done internet programming of any kind are like, well, this kind of sucks,
When they look at that HTML form submit, oh my God, I still can't.
Where did my class level variables go? It's like
stateless programming.
Right.
Why?
Oops, that's a dirty trick.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, you have no idea what this is like before. Be thankful you can drag a button on here.
I make that joke about the kids that work in internology all the time. These guys take so much for granted, like printing.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, you guys got the gray
Sure.
hair. Remember writing,
DOS
putting
programs.
all the Epson's escape codes and
right.
HVGL into our code so it would print neato?
Yeah, that.
Oh, yeah, the tools have gotten so good. Well, it's just, honestly, it's just not that hard to write good software anymore. Certainly nothing, replaces good software architecture or a good software architect, but man, we have good tools these days.
Yeah,
we
do.
So holding back the SmartClient revolution, that the framework getting out to the
what can Microsoft do? What can Microsoft do, or what should they do?
Well, here's what I think. Are you beeping? So here's what I think is totally fucked up. A lot of the messages that we hear is, well, in the Longhorn time frame, the entire OS kernel will be built in native managed code, and you'll get the framework natively on every OS. Well, you know what? I might be dead by the time that ships. We're in the trenches right now.
Not only that, but they make awfully big assumptions, like the whole world is just suddenly going to upgrade to Longhorn.
Yeah,
there's going to be a really slow
point.
Adoption period where people aren't going to have it, and
there's another good point. So we got to take it upon ourselves to get our clients smart, to get the world smart about and get them over the scars of versioning their COM.
Right.
Which is going to take some time.
Right.
We need some really kick-ass consumer apps built in WinForms.
I think we need a catchphrase. A catchphrase that the developer can take upstairs to the manager, and he can say it, and they'll get it.
Well, one of the compelling arguments is, hey, boss, if I do it in ASP.NET, it takes me 100 hours. If you let me do it in a WinForm app, it takes me 40. Which do you want?
Right.
That's certainly a compelling business argument.
Or do both, right? I mean, this is something that Billy Hollis is saying, and it certainly makes a lot of sense. It's so easy to develop an interface in either, relatively easy to develop an interface in either a web or a Windows app. You just build the components, and then you make a Windows front end for your internal people, and you make a web front end that's less feature rich for the people in the field.
Exactly. And you know what? You're not going to manifest your applications in Excel every time.
Right.
But there are times where that makes total sense. So you use the right tool for the right solution. These tools are means to an end. And Billy, of course, is absolutely savvy in the way an application should be architected.
Right. How do you get the business guy, the pointy-haired boss, to understand, why DLL hell existed and why it isn't there with .NET, and it truly isn't there? One thing that I like to say very simply is that COM doesn't reference DLLs by version. COM doesn't reference objects by their version, only by their name. And so you can only have one registered version, and it's like, playing Russian roulette. You take your chances when you register, when you knock up that, when you new up that object. With .NET, when you register a component, you have the name, the class, the DLL name, and the version. And so if it's not the right version, it doesn't, it's low. And I'm talking about shared DLLs here.
Yeah, and
you don't even have to share them.
Let me restate or paraphrase what you said, because you said that the business,
right, and that's exactly
that's a little technical,
right? I know that, and that's how I'm trying to find a better way to say that.
So I get to deal at a little bit. Well, basically, the average of people I deal with are at the CIO level and below, and at a CIO level, it's, hey, admittedly, we've had some problems over the last 4 years, 4 or 5 years on the platform.
Yeah.
It's made it very difficult to version our code.
You have to feel the pain.
And that is why we migrated all this stuff to the web.
Right.
Because,
internally.
Of centralization and all that business. But you know what? .NET fixed most, if not all of that. And here's how it did it. And, while it comes to mind, do you know this Kinitos company?
No.
Have you heard of this company? They're amazing. I just kind of fell bass-ackwards into these guys.
How do you spell that?
They K-I-N-I...
No, I meant bass-ackwards.
K-I-N-I-T-O-S.
Okay.
They make a deployment and updating piece of software for Windows Forms. And it, the stuff, you guys are aware of the stuff we're getting in Whidbey in ClickOnce.
Sure.
And that almost takes us to deployment nirvana. It doesn't take us all the way there. Well, I tell you what, these Kinitos folks have us all the way there right now, even as granular as like peer-to-peer updates on your assemblies. So if one of the machines out there gets a new version, automatically, while the app is running, it looks for the least path of resistance to update the next machine, as opposed to going back to the mothership.
Yeah, that's cool.
Amazing.
That's
so
great.
impressed by this company.
Yeah.
And they're a Microsoft ISV clearly, and they have a lifespan because their product is already more feature filled than what Whidbey's going to give us in ClickOne.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I just adore these guys. The demos are unbelievable. They have some real clients too that adore them.
Yeah.
We're getting mixed up in them in a couple consumer type Windows Forms applications.
Wow.
Which is pretty darn cool. Oh, and
cool.
the best, one of the other things is the network guys can control all this deployment and updating.
With this software these guys have.
With Kinitos, yeah. As opposed to the developer, putting the deployment model in his project.
Yeah, right.
Which doesn't really fly in some of the big enterprises. Well, this can be all infrastructure controlled. How did we get off on this tangent on Kinitos? Those guys
it was
owe
the
me
ClickOnce
now.
thing. Yeah, really. Really. Send the check
we were talking about the hurdles of the revolution, the hurdles of the SmartClient revolution.
How do we convince the pointy-haired boss?
Yeah, and deployment was one of them.
Yes. But
what's interesting about Microsoft SmartClient, I think, is there is no real competition.
In terms of other operating systems.
Yeah. I mean, if Microsoft really jumps on this like they should, and they have not. I mean, when you think of .NET, you automatically think of ASP.NET because it's been marketed so well.
Right.
Times are changing, though. If they jump on this the right way, they're paving 10 years of dominance, I think.
What about like Java Web Start, though?
Yeah, and IBM made some announcements the other day about their new SmartClient strategy. And, as far as I'm concerned, awesome, great. Competition is a great thing for Microsoft. Nothing would make me happier than something to compete with the Windows .NET form.
It's
true. You guys honestly see it in the next couple of years?
And all the building blocks are there in the framework, so anybody can really write this kind of stuff. Even if it is infrastructure stuff, it's not going to replace the framework,
Yeah. Yeah. Competition's good. Just like, Java.
Yeah, I was just thinking about Java Web Start as a Java Web Start as a method of distribution of Java apps over the web. And when it works, it's all right. Like a lot of Sun things, it never really quite hits all the way home. Starts with a good idea and then just kind of limps along the rest of the way. But I guess I could see some competition there in some areas, but it only solves some problems. I guess that's the other issue.
In my dream world, I see the .NET framework running on Sun hardware. Yeah,
well, why not? I mean, it would be easier to do than any COM-based thing.
Technically, it's of course possible.
Right.
Some of the big enterprise customers or clients that we have, they're locked into like 20-year capital investments in Sun and IBM hardware. And, I've been saying for a long time, you're going to see Windows running on those boxes one day because they can't get rid of the hardware.
Right.
What they can do is not renew the software licensing.
Yeah.
Anyways, but now we're way off track. But who cares?
Well, actually, this would be...
No one listens to this show, right?
Since we're off track anyway, this would be a good place to stop and listen to some music. And what we're listening to here first is the recording that we made on Tuesday of New London Blues, and then we're going to play one of Rory's songs for equal time.
I swear to God I never even touched that dude.
between the ceiling and the floor, terrified to sleep at night. She lie awake until it's light. I know, but oh my God, to be so old. I know. Nothing I can do but let it go and wait. I wanna be an airborne ranger. 23 years, I wanna lead a life of danger. Hey, all the way. Hey, all the way, yeah. Hey, all the way. Hey, all the way, yeah. I know. But oh my God, to be so old. I know. And nothing I can do but let it go. Hey, all the way. Hey, all the way, yeah. Hey, all the way, yeah. Hey, all the way, yeah.
Hey, Carl Franklin here, giving a shout out to my friends at Data Dynamics. We've talked a lot about Active Reports on this show, and this is no exception. So I'm talking about ActiveReports.net. This is a port of their popular Active Reports program. If you're currently thinking of doing reporting in .NET for Windows Forms or web applications, check out Active Reports for .NET. Many of my friends in the business use and swear by ActiveReports.net. I use it as well. Let me just tell you, to say that the reporting is simple does it an injustice, because it makes you think that it can only do simple things. It can do very powerful things, but you don't have to go through hoops just to set up a simple report. When you create a report, the report exists with your application, okay? It doesn't exist on a server somewhere. All right, we're not talking about enterprise reporting. We're talking about, I have some data, I want to print it out, or I want to show it to the user. PDF format is supported, HTML format is supported. All the great features you'd expect from a reporting engine, drop dead simple, and the best part, it's not going to break the bank. They have a great licensing scheme that's easy to deal with. So check it out at www.datadynamics.com. Now let's get back to our show. Jeff. All right, cool. And we're back. And, yep, still like that song an awful lot, man.
Cool.
Yeah. And, well, we're back from the break, and we're a little, moving around, experimenting with some different formats here. After the break, we're going to do the Google Weirdos. So, without any further ado, it's time for the Google Weirdos.
Weirdos. Google Weirdos.
What are the Google Weirdos for this? The shouts outs. What are the shouts outs?
All right, the shouts outs. And first thing I got to tell you, Carl, is, Google Weirdos is, of different qualities from one week to the next. And this week, Google Weirdos is going to kind of suck. So moving right along from that.
Okay.
I didn't find the best Google Weirdos in the universe this time, but I'm working on it. The shouts outs, we've got Hello Rory from Rob Josh and the Try Not Gang in North Carolina. Hey, what's up, you guys?
What's up?
Next one is I don't like the drugs, but the drugs like Rory. And
well,
that is definitely for the case. I doubled my antidepressant dose today as scheduled, and boy, am I experiencing some interesting responses upstairs. Okay, next is Rory, get back to Weirdos. News sucks. Okay, well, we appeased this person because we did both tonight.
You. News is great.
Yeah. Well, okay. I think this person will be happy, though, because we've got both.
Yeah.
So you've got best of both worlds.
That's true.
Next one is, forget about Rory. I don't think anyone has ever sent Carl a shout out in the .NET Rocks Google Weirdo segment. and you know what? Neither has this guy. He just said he just said to forget about me. And he comes up with the solution, but he doesn't actually implement it.
Doesn't come through. Well, it's your blog though. Why would they give me shout outs through your blog? Maybe through my blog, but I don't check my logs, so.
Well, it would be nice. I think this person has a point. It would be
There goes me overanalyzing the situation again,
The next one is, I want Rory Blythe shorts. I actually only wear shorts when I exercise, and I get really, really sweaty, and I wash those shorts once every 2 weeks. Would you like me to FedEx those to you or UPS them?
COD.
You just let me know. Contact me offline. Yeah, we'll get it taken care of. Next is, Rory, my life is boring without your blog. That's a nice thing to say. I've had kind of a rough time over the past few months, so
but you're back,
it's good
man.
to do stuff like that. I am back. Yeah, although let me tell you, this doubling of the antidepressant dose might temporarily knock me off the horse for a couple of days, but I think in the long run, I'm definitely back. I'm just having some very interesting, sort of like being drunk. Okay, next one is Rory. Rory, if you don't blog, then the drugs have won. Well, yeah, I guess that's kind of true. And then finally, Rory Blythe, beware.
Just go listen to some Iron John or, beat a drum and curse your father for a while there, guy.
Right. The last one is, Rory Blythe, beware, Jeff is after your job. Jeff, is this true? Jeff?
Yeah, he's gonna learn all about .NET in a neck by neck.
Is there some long and complicated plan you've got out there, an assassination attempt or something? What's going on here?
And I'm planning on changing the show from .NET Rocks to Jeff Rocks.
To Jeff Rocks.
I'm just going to talk about stuff that I think is cool until everybody stops
Jeff's
listening.
Jeff's World. Excellent. Party time.
This is why Google Weirdos is so important, see?
Right.
You heard it first in Google Weirdos.
Together.
And obviously takes some people apart when they lose their co-hosting positions to the sound guy who has some underground effort movement going along that people are talking about on Google. So finally, those are the shouts-outs. Those were the shouts-outs. Moving on to the actual weirdos? Google Weirdos. The true weirdos.
In a world.
Now, sometimes somebody is a Google weirdo unintentionally. They're not necessarily looking for something all that weird, but they don't really know how to phrase their thing, and it comes out wrong. So we've got this. Do high school wrestlers wear jocks? Well, I think they probably wear jock straps, because wearing a whole jock would actually be kind of uncomfortable and inhibit a lot of your movement. You get 5 or 6 jocks strapped to your body, and you're not even going to be able to move. You're just going to be lying there, little guy on the floor covered in 5 or 6 other athletic types. So I think that high school wrestlers probably do not wear jocks unless they're showing off at a kegger or something like that.
Yeah.
The next one is body
and
parts,
stuff like that.
Yeah. Next one is body parts of an octopus. It's not that complicated. They're just like
it's just one part.
There's just the big heady thing, and then you got all the dangly sticky things. It's what's so hard about that?
What did you
use
call
your imagination.
The flippy floppy.
The flippity floppities, yeah. And then the next one is not so weird, but it's in here for a specific reason. It is lick my toes, and I put it in here because my new dog is a total toe fetishist. When I'm taking a shower or when Corey's taking a shower, he waits at the bathroom door, and as soon as you get out, he starts licking all the shower water off of your toes. And then you get in bed, and he goes right down to your toes, and he starts very meticulously licking every last inch between the toes, under the toes.
That dog would be.
It makes us sick too. It makes us sick too. And then he tries to lick your mouth afterwards, which is gross. So that's kind of gross. Next one is
foot and mouth disease, right there.
Yeah, whole new kind.
Yeah.
Next one is Antique Roadshow Sex Change James.
You get athlete's tongue from that.
What the hell is that? What
was that? Say that again.
Antique Roadshow Sex Change James.
I
mean, I've watched Antique Roadshow, and I don't have any idea what this person is getting at.
That's just insane.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. Insane. Next one is NASCAR Tidy Whities. I don't know, maybe there's like a special version of NASCAR where they wear nothing but that tight white cotton Fruit of the Loom underwear and get it all sweaty in those hot little cars or something like that, and somebody really enjoys it. Not me. I wouldn't watch that, okay? Next is Code Rush versus Crack. And I think that that's probably just about where it is for some people, you know? I mean, some people love Code Rush so much that it's on the level of Crack.
I'm enjoying it, but I'm still trying to figure out how to customize it. It's got a lot of options.
Well,
but I do love it.
It's a much larger thing than I think people realize when they start using
what it is.
Yeah. Yep. And then finally, design my own real Star Wars lightsaber. It's a movie. There are no lightsabers. Store-bought or designed on your own. Oh, Jeff, that was you? You put that Google Weirdo in there?
No, actually.
Yeah, it doesn't work, buddy. It doesn't work. It's just flashlights and some steam or something. No real lightsaber going on there. So that is the Google Weirdos for the week.
And a fine Google Weirdos it was.
Weirdos. Yes,
and what a fine Google Weirdos it was. It was a time of reflection, a time of sacrifice, a time of bliss. Time to get on with a damn show. And we're back with with the huckster, Tim Huckaby. Tim, you there?
I'm here.
And it seems like you've got some company. One of our friends dropped in to say hello, did he not?
Mr. Huckaby.
Oh, it's Nick Landry.
It's your friend from Canada.
Oh, God, and I was just about to make a Canadian comment and how much I despise Canada.
It's the bald
Hello,
Canadian.
Active Nick. Good to talk to you. Where are you?
I'm in Montreal.
Okay.
Home sweet home.
Well, that goes without saying, I guess, is your attitude about
isn't
that.
Isn't this ironic? I mean, the first show that Nick did, well, the only show that Nick did, Tim was a caller on. That's where we heard your great Bill Gates story. And in this show...
I fear that, one of Bill Gates' entourage is going to call me one day and say, Tim, we want you to stop telling Bill Gates stories.
Never.
I know it's coming. And all the best Bill Gates stories, are told to me by the Microsoft people. Did I ever tell you the Outlook one?
No.
We want to hear it.
We do.
It has too many F words in it.
That's all right. We have the power of bleep.
It's not appropriate for your audience.
We have the power of bleep, and the live listeners get it unbleeped.
It would be one big bleep. Anyways, Nick, what are you up to? I haven't heard from you in so long.
Yeah, I've been living under a rock for about a year now.
Yeah, that's the truth.
So you got to be careful. I'm back.
Okay, I'll be very careful.
He's back and he's pissed.
In fact, when's the last time I saw you? Was that in New Orleans? You could barely walk. You had so many malted beverages under
Sounds
your
like
skin.
Nick.
I don't know if that was the one. It was probably one of those, but I don't know if I would remember. But who are you to talk about drinking?
Yeah, really.
I don't drink alcohol. It affects my decision-making.
Oh, yeah, right.
I wouldn't know. I can't decide.
I remember. Let me remember here. I remember TechEd TechEd in Atlanta. And you were bar hopping from place to place, and we could not sit you down at a table or a bar for more than 5 minutes because you had to just gather your posse once the drinks were over and just get to another place. It was like a race. You had to try as many bars as possible.
There go your clients, Tim.
And the point is, my clients.
So let's who are you to talk about drinking?
So you know how much work Internology does for Microsoft directly. Let's just assume at TechEd San Diego, these guys are begging me to take them to Tijuana.
The dirty little truth comes out.
TechEd San Diego, there's someone in this little conference here that had a classic screw up. I don't even know if it's worth chiding him about.
Did it involve a donkey?
But
are you talking about me?
a Carl Franklin running out of the hotel with
God.
this worried look on his face. And, I thought I screwed up because I was going to his session and I was late. And I'm thinking well, maybe I looked at the agenda wrong because here he is right here. And he hops in this little chariot to go 200 yards. And I'm thinking my, that's odd.
I needed all the speed I could get.
to hire a $20 chariot to go 200 yards.
No, they were free actually during the day.
Right. So, Carl, you want to take the story from here?
Well, okay, yeah. So
or you just want to ignore it?
No. I'm fully, how can you ignore something like this? I mean, geez. So I'm at TechEd, and I'm in my room, and I get a call from Joe Stagner, it was, who says, Carl, it's 10:45, and whole room here waiting for you. Where are you?
It was the big room, too.
Oh, yeah.
It was like the room that seats 5,000 people.
No, there was at least 1,200 people there. At least. And 10:45. I got 11:45 right here. I pull out my PDA. It says 11:45. So I didn't think about it. I just said, well, geez, I'll get over there as soon as I could. So I got over there. And it turns out I had written down the wrong date, the wrong time. Written down the wrong time, copied it off the website, copied it from my email or whatever it was, an hour late. So I get over there, and Joe, friend that he is, decides to heckle me. And he's in a heckle mood anyway because he takes great pride in telling me, he's local, he's a Rhode Island guy. And every time I go to speak at the Rhode Island.net users group, and he goes to speak at the Rhode Island.net users group, he tells them, that all sorts of things about me that aren't true and to heckle me the next time I come up. And this is a little game he likes to play with me. So he told the crowd that I had been out all night drinking and I was asleep, zonked out, crashed, and hung over. And so to do a tisk when I got up to the stage. 1,200 people at TechEd. They're videotaping it, right? So I get up there and he goes, I warmed him up for you. And he walks away and everybody says, boo.
Yeah, by that time, I'm sitting in the audience thinking holy shit.
Yeah.
He just missed the first half hour of his session.
That was 15. It was 15 minutes.
It seemed like an eternity to
It did
some
seem
people.
like an eternity. And the thing was that, I as soon as they said boo, I had no idea why. It's like, well, I know I'm late, but geez, I said, I get enough of that at home. Cut that out. And I actually did a fairly good session. It was a little rushed, of course. I felt extremely rushed because I just completely lost track of time at that point. So, but so this, and as it turns out, the evals were absolutely scathing. I mean, they didn't know that he was kidding, and I
gave you all nines.
Or
whatever the top score is.
Cool, but it didn't matter. I mean, they looked at those scores and they freaked. So I did a makeup session. And both people in that session really enjoyed it because they do such a great job of getting the word out. And but in all fairness, it wasn't their fault. But I did a makeup session in there's probably 25 people in there, and all those evals were great. But yeah, so the guy who's going to do my talk in New Zealand at TechEd emails me and he says. And forget about that email. All the rest of the show, like I go out and I sit at the lunch table with a bunch of developers, and they had obviously just been in my talk. I didn't know that, and nobody's talking at the table, right? I felt like I was the bastard boyfriend that the daughter had brought home to dad, and they were all dad, and then nobody was saying a word, and they were just like, and I tried to strike up conversation with the people, in the cafeteria area where they have the food, then you go through the buffet line, you sit down. So you're sitting with 10 people that you've never seen before. And usually you strike up a conversation. You're having a good show, blah, blah, blah. But it's like everybody's like looking down in their plate, you know? And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And they're probably thinking to themselves, oh, that bastard's been out all night drinking. Shh. Don't look him in the eye. He's probably hungover. Oh, man.
Well, you know what, Carl? That's when you need a top 10 list to win them over at the beginning.
A top 10. You are Mr. Top 10 list. You know, I congratulate a Canadian having an original idea. It's just wonderful to see.
Well, actually, it's not even original. But, well, we all know who the original top 10 guy is.
But you make up some good ones. So do you have one?
I try. Actually, you know what? I do. And I do have a special top 10 list in the honor of our guest tonight.
Oh, really?
Mr. Tim Huckaby. And, you know, like any top 10, I've got to explain the context and everything. You know, the thing is, Tim has this company, all these consultants working for him. He's Mr. Hotshot at Microsoft. He goes to conferences and gives all these great talks about .NET. But you know what? I'm really not sure he knows exactly what he's talking about. I think he just tries to fake it.
Here we go. At least I set an expectation in the beginning of the show that my own people don't let me write production code anymore.
Oh, that's good.
You're being much too modest. He only won, like, the coding contest of the lifetime.
Oh, that was totally fixed, and you knew it.
Well,
anyway, so that's why I decided to come up with the top 10 reasons why Huckaby should not talk about tech.
Okay.
So, let's get going. Number 10, he's wasted 90% of the time.
Oh.
Number 9, I would trust him more as an Iron Chef than an Iron developer.
That's the one I'm talking about, Iron developer. Iron Chef.
Number 8, he's become a Hollywood type ever since he's met Bill Gates on stage.
My good friend. Has no idea who I am. Right?
Number 7 is all that San Diego sun who has hit so hard on his head too many times that it hurt his mental abilities. Number 6, he's been spending too much time with his Huckababes to stay current on tech.
Huckababe.
You guys remember the Harley babe that he had?
The Harley babe? No.
Now, she was a Huckababe. I mean, that's when we came up with the term.
I didn't even get close.
Number 5, he thinks garbage collection is associated to collecting empty bottles for 5-cent refunds.
Ooh.
Number 4, if you look up www.timhuckaby.com, it directs you to a Polish vodka import e-commerce site.
Now I'm scrambling to type in timhuckaby.com to see if there is one.
I just
Number 3,
reserved it.
he's a CEO. He's much better at pushing people than pushing code. Oh, come on, guys.
Yeah, okay.
Number 2, he's way too enthusiastic about tech to actually understand what he's talking about.
He is enthusiastic, that's sure.
Yeah, that's true.
You should hear me talk about sports.
And the number 1 reason why Huckaby should not be allowed to talk about tech is, you know what, at his age, the only .NET talks he should be allowed to do are about COBOL.NET.
Oh, now that hurts. Oh, my God, Nick. That hurt. That cuts to the bone. You know, seeing that I have a little gray hair and I used to be one hell of a JCL developer,
I love
man.
You know what I
wrote some kick-ass JCL in my time that set up my COBOL apps. So that one hurts bad. But it's mostly true, of course.
So there you go.
Is there a timhuckaby.com?
I just reserved it.
There is
I'm
not.
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Well, you better register it because you know that after hearing this show, a lot of people are going to register it and point it to you God knows what.
Yeah. Well, Nick, thanks for stopping by. It was good to talk to you. We're going to have to.
It was great, guys.
Yeah.
So have fun.
Later, Nick.
All right. Cheers. Bye.
Thanks again for your hospitality in Montreal, man.
Hey, that was fun.
It was.
And next year, Tim, you got to come to DevTeach.
Absolutely.
Invite me. I'd love to come.
I did. But, you know, you're too important for us. So.
No, I'm 900 unread emails behind is what I am.
All right, that's okay. So have fun, guys.
Okay,
Later, buddy.
take it easy.
Cheers.
So what the hell were we talking about before we were so rudely interrupted with all this silliness?
Programming, computers,
technology.
Yeah, the subject of your book, right?
We're talking about SmartClient.
Yeah, SmartClient. So you really think that that this is going to happen? Are these people going to become educated? Here's the thing. It seems to me, Tim, that in order for a technology like this to become widely utilized, people have to see it working, and you have to have some case that like Amazon.com was a very easily visible project where people could see, yes, the web is working because people can go to it. But SmartClient applications are really for intranet and private use mostly. And so even if the biggest company in the world, like even if Exxon came out and said, we've deployed, a SmartClient application all around the world for our customers and our orders and deployers, and nobody's going to know because they can't put their hands on it.
Yeah,
so isn't that a big
I agree.
problem?
It's a enterprise type. It's easy. It's a relatively easy solution to solve in the enterprise. I think we definitely need a big consumer win to turn some heads.
How can we do it, though? How can we do it without...
Well, there's unfortunately, I can't fly the company name, but let's assume that a very large internet travel organization company, where you book your airplanes and your your cars and such, has got a Windows Forms project going.
Okay.
That we're going to be involved in. It's very, very exciting.
Cool.
And that would, of course, require these clients to, have the .NET framework on their desktop, and then they would download this really kick-ass, easy to use, Windows interface travel app. And their first pilot customers are, big companies. It's going to be a custom version, that kind of like extending their extranet. But they fully plan to go consumer on it. There's a lot of people like us that believe that .NET is going to dominate.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time. It's a matter of awareness. It's a matter of a few legal and technical hurdles before total domination. And then these Amazon.com example you give is interesting because remember, was it the last PDC where they showed their Longhorn SmartClient version of Amazon.com? And it's actually live.
But here's the thing. Why would somebody use that if they can just go to a browser and get everything they can do with that? You know what I mean? It's an internet application.
Well, are you being facetious? I think I know. You know the answer to that. The rich interface of Windows is compelling.
Right.
Grandma Huckaby would go to Amazon.com and flail.
Yeah.
Or
right.
any of the big internet web applications, because there's no standards in the interface and
right.
Every app behaves differently. Well, Grandma Huckaby knows file exit, and she knows the Windows interface.
Right.
She certainly knows that she would certainly do a lot better in the rich controls that we have on the Windows side.
And there's something to be said for that, certainly. I think maybe a more compelling argument is just the being able to interface with your client-side stuff, like being able to, when you book a flight, let's say, you have an itinerary, and you could, just dump that itinerary into your Outlook calendar, or you could, open up a little travel spreadsheet, a travel expenses spreadsheet or whatever. The integration with the client-side stuff and the stuff that they were doing in Longhorn was especially cool, where they showed demos of utilizing the metadata in WinFS, to superimpose calendars, your calendar, like what are you doing? Superimpose that over a calendar where data comes from, in a SmartClient where data comes from a web service somewhere.
But there's other compelling arguments too, of course. Think about Outlook versus OWA, or Outlook Web Access.
Yeah.
Outlook is lightning compared to OA.
Oh, right.
And they're both almost completely identically functional. And OA is the king of web apps, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a better written app than that thing. Certainly there's a lot of client-side stuff going on, but that's a nice, rich, robust app. You would never run that inside the firewall. Never in a million years if you had access to the Win32 version of Outlook.
Yeah.
And plus, you get that pretty compelling disconnected scenario, which is the big attribute, one of the big sells of a SmartClient app in Outlook, the Win32 version. And we could go on and on.
Yeah, no,
there's
true.
Just and there's tools for everything. And
Right.
Web apps aren't dying. That the rumor of HTML's death is greatly over exaggerated.
Yeah. It's true.
Unfortunately, we're stuck with it for a long time.
Well, and as you said before, Tim, it's an appropriate tool for some things. You wouldn't want to go to Amazon.com and before you can use the website, please download this 25 megabyte, install the framework.
25 megs of DLL down your throat.
Right. It's just not appropriate for that.
Grin and bear it.
Right.
Thank you, sir. I have another.
But for anything where we're using our data, we're taking it offline, we're integrating with other applications on our system, we have the rich UI stuff. Maybe it's going to take the UI of Longhorn pizzazz for people to say, you know what, Windows was good and functional and stuff, but this is great, and I want to use this. Because now I think there's less of a case for the UI thing. I mean, sure, Windows UI is better, it's cleaner, it's faster, it's more feature-rich, but people have learned to deal with the web interface, and they're obviously doing it because websites aren't going away, right?
Right.
So, I think maybe Longhorn is the killer thing. I don't know. What do you think about that, Rory? You think that Avalon and those kinds of things will bring people back around to wanting Windows apps?
Well, I think so, and I think a lot of it actually has to do with the fact that they're going to bring that web look and feel to the desktop. Because, by the time Longhorn gets out anyway, like while we've been sitting here, I've been totally lost in thought because Tim keeps talking about, consumer applications written in .NET. And I started thinking, now, what consumer applications do I even use anymore? I started thinking about, I use Outlook, of course. I use Word. I use the Office suite, essentially. Yep. And it almost ends right there. Aside from that, nearly every application that I use now is hosted on the web somewhere. And, the more I get to think about that, the more I'm kind of seeing, like, the value in, say, like, the navigation application that we're gonna be taking advantage of in Longhorn. Yeah, where a lot of people are going to be designing their applications in a more document-centric manner, rather than just a collection of windows and buttons, but something that actually draws people from one point to another in an inductive manner, a lot like what we have on the web when you're purchasing something online. So I think it'll come back, and I think we're going to get the best of both worlds. We're going to get the good things that the web has brought to us over the past few years,
like
and the
auto resizing stuff. Yeah,
we're going to get the accessibility stuff. We're going to get like that feeling of somebody drawing us through a process rather than sitting and staring at a bunch of floating windows and not knowing what to do with them. Yeah. But we're also going to get the power of the desktop. We're going to be kind of like SmartClients. We'll be able to take advantage of local resources, and just it really is going to be the best of both worlds because they will be connected applications and semi-connected applications. They will behave like web applications, but they will run locally. It's going to be great. So I think it's a good thing.
I just hope that, there's a lot of very stubborn, very, very stubborn people out there with painful memories who don't even look at it because they just don't want to go there. It's just painful or whatever it is. They have made up their mind, and these are the people that we really need to be talking to and talking about, don't you think?
There's companies still with corporate standards. You will not write anything but web applications.
That's right. And you will not install any Windows applications without first going through a 29-step approval process, which, by the way, takes 30...
In front of committee.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah, well, we talked about it earlier. The scars are deep.
Yeah, so we need a 12-step program for recovering Windows users or something,
By the time Longhorn comes out, all those managers will have died of old age, and there will be a whole new generation of people in there who think differently. All right,
I hope so. There's the half full view. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's definitely half full for me. I'm happy about it.
There's a lot of awesome technology that we get to use, but there's other scars. I don't want to divert the conversation too long, but how about NT? It won't go away.
Yeah.
It's killing us.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking for the three of us and your entire audience. NT is killing us.
You know what, though? Security is a hell of a motivator. I was motivated to actually install Firefox on a PC at home just because I couldn't uninstall IE the right way. I couldn't get the spyware off before it just got so integrated and latched into IE. I just couldn't clean it and I couldn't use it anymore. And it doesn't happen on all of my PCs. It just happened on one. I don't know why. I don't know how it got in there, but ever since that happened, I stopped running as administrator. Now I have a little applet that I wrote that, picks a file and runs it with run as, and, run adaware and spybot search and destroy religiously. And those things haven't come back. But can you imagine having that kind of a problem on a server like NT where it just becomes unusable? Here's a tip for you. Just everybody go do this right now. Right click on your taskbar and select Task Manager and go to Processes and sort the processes by the user, by the user. And you should see your username in there. And there should really only be about 4 or 5 processes running if you don't have any other applications running that are running under your account. And if, what I saw in there was like 30, I shit you not, 35 processes that were running, and you'd close them and they'd come right back again. Close them, they'd come right back. What the hell? I mean, you just want to take something in a spray can and go,
now I'm staring at my processes here in panic.
Yeah, I'll look at mine right now, and I'm just on a laptop here. And
I did run that.
I'll look at mine too because I don't want to feel left out.
No,
I did run that spybot thing the other night, and oh my goodness, on a machine here at home that the kids use.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Mine's okay.
Terrifying. Here. And they're. Well, I control where they can go, and we're talking about Nick.com.
Oh, yeah.
The Nickelodeon site, and they're still getting all this crap.
Some guys in the chat room saying, I've got about 29 here. And you're probably running under the administrator account, and, some website hijacked your browser and installed all sorts of crap, and it's running. And God knows what the hell it's doing,
I've got 59 on mine, and I'm running as admin, but I think I can account for all of it.
Yeah, I've got a lot of applications running, and I've only got about 10.
Oh, there's this thing sucking up a whole bunch of memory called Outlook. I should look into that.
Hey,
see if I can get that cleaned.
Have you guys seen the Whitby WinForms version of Outlook that was written internally at Microsoft as a demo app for WinForms? It's I wish. See, this is why you guys should be on TV so I could show this thing. It is so amazing. You look at the thing and you swear it's Outlook, and it's built completely in Whitby, in just the normal controls that ship with the product.
Wow.
Now the cool thing is it's great for me to do a session on because it's a facade. It's a complete demo app. So for the messages, is use this little XML file. And you can hack it up with like conversations that are relatively amusing. And then boom, you jump into the Visual Studio and show them how the app's built. Oh, it's so compelling.
Cool.
Of course, smart guys like my folks and you guys say, "Whoa, I can just snap in on my Pop32 account and I've replaced Outlook." Well, that's clearly not why the WinForms team built this app. It doesn't replace Outlook's functionality. It's really just a look and feel app, but it is very, very cool. If you have access to the Tech Ed presentations, Joe Stegman is the guy that built it, and it's in his WinForms session where he shows how he builds it. It's unbelievable. And I'm not a UI guy. I'm a nightmare on the client side. But
you can't do UIs, or people won't let you code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm pretty
man,
good
you're
at
screwed.
reading and writing emails.
So real
Hitting
quick,
start on the copy machine and making coffee and
so Tim, real quick, we need to wrap it up because we have another segment that you can stay online for, but it's the first time we've ever done this segment, and I'll introduce that in a minute. But before you go, you got to tell us a story. Tell us a story.
You got to give me some context.
I
never realized I got famous for telling stories, maybe because I like humor so much.
Well, you told me this afternoon in MSN that you had a killer story that you could tell about some conference or something. Something happened.
I did?
Yeah.
No, that was your prior guest.
No, I don't think so.
Give me some context.
Shit.
Oh, here's a good one. Do you guys? And this is. Do you mind it being off topic?
No.
I was telling this story the other night because for Ineta I did some presentations. .NET 101 for the network guy. Mm-hmm. Right, and you cover how easy it is to build, Active Directory aware applications and WMI. WMI is one of those technologies that the Unix folks have had forever that we just recently got on the Microsoft platform. And one of its features is you can write code that runs remotely. If you know the whole management suite of Microsoft, like Application Center and MOM and all those things, they use WMI to go out there to manage the devices and such, right? You guys know what WMI is. In any event, before XP was, Microsoft completely locked down the OS, you could use in scriptable interfaces, in COM interfaces, you could execute, I wrote a little VBS script that would execute a process remotely. Now, you needed permissions to do that, like a domain admin or a local admin. But a little, 10, 20-line script I wrote for a Microsoft project, and I could spawn Internet Explorer on someone else's machine.
Ooh.
So, Carl, you know Woody Pewitt pretty well.
Sure.
Woody's a great guy. He's one of those industry leaders. He's well-spoken, well-written, and he's just a brilliant software architect.
Yep.
So this is like 6 months ago, maybe a year ago. How time flies. Anyways, I run this little script, and I have to get the domain admin from my own people, right? And I run this little script. I bring up IE in a website that would suggest he has some complications with his sexual preferences. As IE is spawning, I walk into his office and say, "Hey, what are you up to, Woody?" And technically I'm the boss, right?
Right.
So he just freaks out and says, "Dude, I have no idea how that happened. I do not look at this website." just a classic technology practical joke story.
Great. That's awesome.
So let me leave you with that one. WMI. Now, you can still unlock Windows to do this type of stuff, but it comes locked down now.
Wow. Great story.
Okay, boys?
Well, stick around, Tim. Stick around because we'd like you to contribute to this next segment. This is called The Toy Boy with Richard Campbell. As you know, Richard Campbell did a show, Geeking Out with Richard Campbell, just a couple of weeks ago. And we liked it so much that we wanted to have him back as a regular segment on every show to talk about what's cool and what's not cool in geek toys. Isn't that great? And
Richard Campbell is one of my favorite people in the world. I love that guy.
He's awesome. So before I introduce him, let me just say that he did a lot of research this week to find something that's really good. And what we're going to do is we're going to give away swag based on a contest where he's going to set up the requirements for the contest. It's going to be something you have to look up online or figure out real quick and email us the answer. And the first one to email us the correct answer is going to win. Now, tonight's prize is what he's actually talking about, but we're going to try to make it so that it's next week's prize. We're going to sort of stagger it a little bit, but we have to start somewhere. So let me introduce the segment, The Toy Boy with Richard Campbell.
39 speakers in my living room. NASA complains about the sonic boom. 10-foot high screen
How's it hanging, Richard?
Well, here I am, and apparently I am the toy boy, and
yes,
enjoying
you are.
myself a great deal.
Excellent. Okay.
Let's talk about the nVidia GeForce 6800 Ultra video card. Now, Tom's Hardware has done a great review on this product. I'm a video card junkie. I can't get enough horsepower out of anything related to my machines, and I prefer my computers water-cooled, so the high-end video cards all have water cooling options. And currently, I have an ATI Radeon 9800 XT. Of course, I only bought this a couple of months ago, and now I've been put to shame by this new video card. It's a beast.
Wow.
You've never seen anything like this. You know, the complexity of video cards has blown away CPUs.
True.
Your typical P4 is running 20 million to 30 million transistors on it. The GeForce 6800 has 222 million transistors on it.
Wow.
It's insane. And that's twice what my 9800 XT's got.
So Richard, Huckaby here.
Yeah, Bob.
Can you put this in real terms for a guy whose 8-year-old kicks his ass in Xbox?
It's going to smoke.
All right.
Does this mean Halo or Quake or runs faster or better or something like that?
Well, that's a good term to work from Tim. My current penchant for blowing myself up with is Unreal Tournament 2004. And with this obscene video card, I can run 1600 by 1200, 32-bit mode with full anti-aliasing on and still get 100 frames per second.
Oh, my God.
Faster than my
Wow.
screen
Oh,
can draw.
holy shit.
Wow.
That is really
And
crazy.
what are the costs of this thing?
$399.
Now, the jacked up one. Now, the Ultra is more. It's $500, and you really can't get one right now. The reason is the
That's the bad
GDDR3s. So they're all back-ordered is what it is. It's the RAM chips on it. The GDDR3 chips are killing us.
But the one that you quoted there, spec-wise, was the one that we're giving away?
Now, we're giving away the model below the Ultra, which is the 256 one that still uses GDDR.
Okay,
And it still kicks ass.
And
it still kicks ass.
it's still an amazing card. It's faster than anything else you're going to be able to lay your hands on, but it's not quite as fast as the absolute limit machines. Meantime, there's other companies like these guys, BFG Tech. And anybody who used to play Doom knows what a BFG is.
It's a big friendly giant.
They've taken
gun.
the video card, have taken the video card, and they're shipping it overclocked about 25% with water cooling already installed.
Oh, man.
Sweet. I mean,
Now,
it's a little excessive,
the funny
but it's
part
still
about
cool,
this video
you know?
card, the other threshold this video card has hit is it's now consuming more power than your processor. In fact, to plug this card into your machine, you need to plug in 2 additional Molex connectors to it. So the PCI bus doesn't generate enough power. There's been a few video cards that have 1 Molex connector. This one needs a pair because it draws 120 watts.
Oh, man.
Whoa.
The lights dim when you play Unreal. Then
Yeah, and if you're going to cool it with air, you can heat your room with it.
wow.
So is this thing the actual
But
top
wait.
of the line right now? I mean, you can't get anything better?
There can't get anything better yet, but there's a new card coming,
Okay.
which is tied into something you asked me about recently, Rory, which is PCI Express.
PCI Express, yeah.
They're going to build a version with the same core, the NV40 core, that you can run 2 of simultaneously in your machine.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
And what it'll basically do is every other frame drawn on your screen will be run on the opposite card. So you basically double your frame rate.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Now,
Sick.
so if you have an urge to drop $1,000 on a video card, this will be the choice for you.
And just some quick specs here. The clock memory speed is 300. The clock speed is 350 megahertz. Memory speed is 1 gigahertz. The one we're giving away here is 256 megs of RAM, GDDR3, as you said, 256-bit. It's got 1 VGA out, 15-pin D-sub, 1 TV out, S-video, and 1 DVI. It's AGP 4.8X. The maximum resolution is 2048 by 1536 at 60 hertz. No TV tuner, no video input. And there you go, man. This is some serious stuff. So in your travels, Richard, out there on the web, you were going and looking for some great toys. Did you come across any devices or gadgets that weren't so great, things that we maybe should avoid this holiday season?
Well, yes, I did. And I'm a little traumatized to even talk about this particular product.
Really?
I'm going to have to. It's
there's no.
It's one of those things you just got to look at.
Okay.
It's www.smartclamp.com.
I'm going there now. KLAMP.
A little pause, and if you check the title page, you'll see the line nobody ever wanted to read: "The Fine Art of Male Circumcision."
Oh God!
Oh God! The smart clamp.
Now, don't worry, the smart clamp, and it comes in XXL for all you bigger guys.
Oh my! This can't be real.
Now, wait a minute. Is it what's going on here? Could you please tell us now? Holy
this
oh my
is a
God!
medical device that
Parents and end users
through your doctor. Yeah, they do have an end user set of website with a fact.
God.
Good questions.
Self-circumcision.
Holy
I like the fact that it's
Oh my
ISO
God.
9002 rated. And don't forget, it
gotta be
comes with the
patent pending.
size-o-meter.
Size-o-meter. This can't be real.
Oh my God! Could
Look
you
at
just
the
use
happy
scissors and like a
faces on
rag to
the,
bite on?
Yeah, look at the kids with their smiling
the
happy
advantage of
faces.
this-
I tell you what, I wouldn't be happy if I had that thing snapping on my.
And here's the
leg.
kicker.
I love the sign up
After
at the top.
installation,
They have pictures.
Well, there's this line at the top
before
that
and
just says
after.
predictable results. You know, like it's going to do anything else. You know, predictable results chops your balls off. I mean, what do you expect?
Ouch.
You know,
Good Lord.
So
you're
this
supposed
is
to leave it
real.
on for 5 days.
5 days.
It's going to make you look kind of a little weird with that in your pants, isn't it?
Oh my God. Well, coming back quickly to reality with only a few minutes
Well,
left.
no,
in the
but that
show.
is reality, Carl. That's the freaky thing.
my reality. That's not my reality.
I'm bookmarking that.
First,
Okay. Anyway, yeah. Back to the
preparation.
show.
First, the painkiller will be applied. The foreskin will be thoroughly cleaned, usually with yellow-colored jodium. Okay, I can't read anymore. I'm going to be sick. So, Richard, you are the guy who tells everybody what they need to do. I will tell them where they need to send it. You need to send your answers to .netrocks@franklins.net. Richard, what do they have to do?
The contest is to find out, with the new SLI 6800 series video card that nVidia is releasing, you use the PCI Express bus, and there's a massive increase in bandwidth over traditional PCI buses. I want to know how many times faster the PCI Express with the SLI technology provides me over my old PCI bus.
How many
Find
times
me that
faster?
multiplier, you win yourself a card. How many
Okay.
times faster?
All right, how many times faster is it? And as you're
5?
doing... All right, please. As you're doing that, we're going to listen to some music until we get an answer. First one to send the right answer to .NET Rocks and Franklins.net wins the card. And we have a winner. The winner is Michael Rosario. Michael Rosario, you win the card. Yay! Everybody clap.
Bravo. What's the answer?
The answer is 60 times. Michael,
Cool.
what we need from you is your mailing address and your firstborn. So thanks. And
And the
Tim-
follow-up question.
Yeah. What's the
the
URL?
follow-up
Where'd you
question is-
find it?
Well, no, it's why does the smart clamp need to stay on the penis for 5 days after the circumcision?
That's an incredibly pertinent question, isn't it? I mean, I don't think... I
I'll
think
let
the
you go to the fact for
circumcision
that.
takes 5 days. I think it's done slowly. That's the problem.
You guys sent me in the tank with that smart clamp thing. Now I'm intensely disturbed.
Well, we
there's
thought,
pictures on the website.
I know, it's insane.
Of the damn thing in action.
We thought SmartClient, SmartClamp,
Go to the FAQ section and prepare to be disturbed.
Oh, this has been too much fun.
Should we talk about what we're doing next week?
What are we doing next week?
Next week's show, we're going to be talking about fun that geeks can have with Home Depot.
Ooh, I know what you're up to, and I think it's crazy. Well, anyway, listen, I want to thank some people here. I want to thank my co-host, Rory Blythe, Richard Campbell, obviously Tim Huckaby, Nickolas Landry out there, and all the listeners, Jeff Maciolik out in the sound room, and what can I say? You guys are great. Keep on listening, and hey, you're winning some good stuff.